It's been a decade since my last job interview, but at 44, I'm ready to keep doing what I love. I'm Alex Price, a mechanical design engineer, new to this area. Interestingly, this company used to be a major competitor. I believe they'll offer me a job once they see my skills. Hopefully things will soon fall into place. My plan. That's how I'll deal with my cheating wife. I met Holly in 1993. She was beautiful and confident. I was shy and introverted, thanks to my bossy mother and bullying sisters, Megan and Anna. Megan was 13 years older, Anna 10. They blame me for my parents' breakup. My father left when I was 5, and I recently learned why. "Come in, Mr. Price. Nice to meet you," said Robert Williams, the owner of Sutton Hydraulics. He was much friendlier than my previous boss. "Thank you for having me," I replied, taking a seat in his office. "I'm surprised you're leaving Walker Engineering, Mr. Price." "Call me Alex, and I can't wait to leave," I said. "They're doing well there, Alex." "I've done great work there for 10 years, but without much thanks or respect lately." He looked serious for a moment. I hadn't mentioned my situation and kept it to myself. "I want you here, Alex. I can offer the raise you asked for. You mentioned a commission for winning contracts, right?" "Yes, but I hope it's not illegal." "Alex, I won't be involved in anything illegal," he assured. "I interact with our customers daily. I know what they pay and our contracts inside out. With my designs and your team, we can excel," I explained confidently. He shook my hand, and I saw integrity in his eyes. Another part of my plan was set. Now, about Holly. We met at Kingston University. She was finishing her creative writing degree, and I was completing my master's in mechanical engineering. She was always surrounded by men, but one of her friends introduced us. My shyness attracted her, and we started dating. After 6 months, I heard rumors she was cheating, but couldn't prove it and was afraid to confront her. Holly was spoiled and caused public scenes if things didn't go her way. My friends disliked her and urged me to leave, but I was in love like never before. After graduation, we both got jobs and rented an apartment near Southampton, where Holly's family lived. I had little in common with my own family by then. We married a year later, and soon after, Sophie and Ava were born. Holly loved being a mom, and our life was great. I received several promotions and started working for Walker Engineering 10 years ago. Pay raises and bonuses helped us save for a better house. But 2008 was tough. The economic downturn caused job losses and fewer contracts, so we had to work harder and longer hours without extra pay. During this time, I discovered Holly was having an affair with someone from our old university. My friend Toby thought it was a classmate who had moved nearby. When I confronted Holly, she laughed and denied it, but I knew she was lying. Despite everything, I kept my job and salary, allowing us to buy a nice 5-bedroom house in Southampton. Holly always wanted a house that reflected our status. We got a good deal, though the mortgage was high. Secretly, I opened a savings account in my name only, putting my year-end bonuses into it. Holly never knew, as I managed all our finances. In hindsight, it was the best decision. I needed protection in case Holly left me for her old lover. Life returned to normal, and my daughters remained my priority. I supported their studies and spent weekends with them at dance classes, concerts, and the zoo. Holly was often busy with her coffee dates. Friends joked about my situation, calling me under my thumb like the Rolling Stones song, as I often canceled plans for Holly's demands. Even co-workers commented on her control over me. A few months ago, everything changed. Ava left for university, leaving Holly and me alone for the first time in 18 years. Both girls attended our alma mater. While unpacking Ava's things, she asked why I stayed with their mother. I was shocked by her question. "Daddy, I heard she's hanging around with Henry Walker at your company," Ava said with tears in her eyes. This was news to me, but not surprising. I had avoided investigating Holly's affairs to keep our family together. I still loved her, but valued our family more. This revelation made me realize how much my daughters resented Holly. They loved and respected me, but were disappointed I hadn't stood up to her. It also reminded me of my own childhood and how it shaped my weaknesses. Finally, I understood that employees at work openly mocked me and Henry Walker, who was Jack, the owner's nephew and Holly's lover. I couldn't take it anymore, especially since my youngest daughter had discovered Holly's infidelity. I had to confront her. My heart raced as I waited at the kitchen table. When Holly came home, she looked at me with apathy and contempt, saying nothing as she put her bags away. Finally, I asked, "Are you having an affair?" She blushed slightly and replied, "I wouldn't call it an affair, darling." Shocked by her confession, I waited for her to explain why lovemaking with another man didn't count as cheating. "You're a wonderful person, Alex. a great provider and my best friend. But there are things you can't give me, and I want it all, she said bluntly. So you're cheating on me, I said, discouraged. Only my body, not my heart or mind. They belong to you, she insisted. Her audacity left me speechless. I've never turned you down for lovemaking, Alex. I just explore with a couple of young guys, she admitted. What? I shouted, surprising her. She took a seat across from me and regained her composure. Don't yell at me, Alex, she said. You admitted to cheating with two guys and I'm supposed to stay quiet? I replied. I love you, Alex, but this is how it is. Deal with it or I'll leave and be with them, she threatened. She softened her expression briefly as if she saw my hurt. Everyone does it these days. My friends have affairs with younger men, and it makes for a better marriage, she argued. I was stunned. She tried to justify her cheating by claiming it was common and beneficial. She didn't care about our marriage or me, just the comfort I provided. So I can have another woman? I asked. She laughed. Come on, Alex, be serious. You struggle talking to women you know. How will you approach someone new? Her mocking laughter embarrassed me. That's how it is, Alex. Don't ruin a good thing. I'm still your wife. I still love you, and I come home to you every night. Don't ruin your life or do something you'll regret. She left me at the table, realizing she didn't care about me. Her friend's infidelity didn't justify hers, and her threats infuriated me. I slept in the spare room, but Holly woke me around midnight asking why I wasn't in bed. Get over it, Alex. That's how the world works. You're acting like an old man, she said. I remained silent as she stood in the doorway. Suit yourself, Alex. You'll be back in bed soon. You never deny me anything, and I'll get my way, she said confidently. She was right. In our 22-year relationship, I had always given in to her. Everyone knew I was under her control, and now I was a betrayed man. Unable to sleep, I went downstairs to watch TV. A show about celebrities tracing their family trees got me thinking about my own family. I had no contact with my mother or sisters, but I started thinking about my father. I barely remembered him. Did he have another family? Why did he leave? My mother claimed he abandoned us. Before I left for university, my brother-in-law told me my father had died years ago, but my sisters denied knowing. That's when I cut ties with them. The next morning, I left the house early, trying to distract myself from Holly's hurtful words. I remembered the TV show about tracing family trees and decided to investigate my father. The girls were independent and Holly was unfaithful, so this project might keep me occupied. Good morning, Alex, Henry Walker greeted me, his smug expression infuriating. How's your wife? He mocked, drawing laughs from nearby coworkers. Ignoring them, I went to my office, feeling humiliated. Can I offer you anything, Mr. Price? Maybe a couple of balls? Olivia, the boss's secretary, taunted. What did you just say? I asked, glaring at her. I said there were no calls, she replied, barely suppressing her laughter. My day was off to a terrible start. Determined to focus, I began searching for my father. He was born in Cambridgeshire and left us in 1977. After a search, I found 14 people named James Price, born in 1939 in Cambridgeshire. Narrowing it down to 3 possible matches, I posted messages on genealogy websites. Reflecting on the past 24 hours, I received a call from my boss, Jack, who wanted to talk. Jack was wealthy and had been married 3 times. He was a cheater and a bully, demanding respect, but giving none. Despite considering leaving many times, the money always convinced me to stay. I knew he was sleeping with his secretary, Olivia. It has come to my attention that your wife is playing a trick on you, Alex, Jack said sharply. With your nephew, I replied. Yeah, he's a temperamental guy. It runs in their family, Jack laughed. But I don't want this to affect the business. Family comes first for me, Alex. If there's trouble, you're the one who has to leave. Understood? He spoke condescendingly, with Olivia listening by the door. As I left, I wondered why someone like Olivia would sleep with Jack. I heard laughter as I walked away, clearly at my expense. As I returned to my office, I realized staying here wasn't helping me. I had funded my daughter's education, but now I was just financing my wife's infidelities. I was a simple person who enjoyed gadgets but didn't need a big house. Most of my expenses were for Holly's indulgences, weekly salon visits, her car, phone, and other luxuries. At work, I was usually happy and successful, designing many of the parts manufactured and sold here. I knew I could find work elsewhere. They thought I was weak, and they were right. I was non-confrontational and content being a humble engineer. I looked at the family vacation photo on my screen, clicked the mouse, and opened my email. There was a message from Jennifer Holmes of the Cambridge Genealogical Committee. Surprised by the quick response, I read that Jennifer had found Rachel Murray, my cousin, who had been researching her family tree and contacted her about my father. I sent Jennifer my number, asking Rachel to contact me. Leaving work, I felt uplifted. At home, I smelled dinner cooking and found Holly busy in the kitchen. We muttered greetings and ate in silence. During dinner, Holly tried making eye contact, but realized I was still angry. Finally, she spoke up. "Can we talk about last night, Alex?" she asked meekly. "What's there to talk about? You explained everything perfectly. I'll either accept it or I won't," I replied. She briefly looked regretful, then continued. "You're a great husband, and you've never turned me down. Please don't start now, Alex," she almost begged. "If I'm so great, why cheat on me? Why make a fool of me?" I asked. She had no answer, brushing me off. I was tired of her selfishness. I worked hard to pay the bills and give her everything, yet received only disrespect and ridicule. I drove a 12-year-old car while she had a new one. "Listen, Alex, I have needs you can't fulfill. Either handle it or let me go to a younger man," she said. "You mean Henry Walker?" "Everyone knows he's your lover," I interjected. "Yes, Henry is practically your boss and will take over the company. He gives me what I need in bed, and if you don't agree, I'll leave you and he'll provide everything else I want." I didn't respond. I walked into my office, wanting to punch something, but instead, I sank into my chair and screamed into my hands, tears in my eyes. Then the phone rang. It was Rachel. We talked for about an hour, and when I hung up, everything else faded away, leaving a huge smile on my face. Rachel was thrilled that I reached out about our father and had a lot to share. She spoke rapidly, and I struggled to absorb it all. I learned my mom had kicked my dad out and lied about it throughout my childhood. He died in 1983 from booze poisoning when I was 11. His mother blamed my mom for his temper and mental state. Rachel said he wanted to reconnect with me but was prevented. We planned to meet in Cambridge that weekend, and I looked forward to it. The week dragged on, with the same routine at home and mockery at work. Henry and his friends hung underwear on my office door with a note saying, "Please go back to your wife." I felt broken and cried at my desk, overwhelmed with blame. Saturday finally arrived. I told Holly I was visiting a friend in London, and she didn't care. The drive to Cambridge was stressful, and I arrived an hour late, but Rachel greeted me warmly. I met her husband Greg and their children, Grace and William. We quickly moved on to discussing our family and my father. Rachel and Greg were warm and enthusiastic, eager to share our family story. During my visit, I also met David and Lucy Price, Rachel's brother and my cousin. David added more details about our father. After lunch, we took a short trip, giving me time to reflect. When we returned, David and I talked about work and family life. Sensing my troubles, I confided in my new cousins, who assured me of their support. I left Cambridge with a new perspective. Realizing that I had a kind and honest family gave me hope. I needed to sort out my life for my girls, my friends, and my new family. When I got home at 8 p.m., Holly was about to go out. "Where are you going, Holly?" I asked. "Out with friends." "You mean Henry or Max?" I snapped. She looked surprised that I knew her other lover's name. I gave her a pleading look. "Please, Holly, I'm asking you to stop and be my wife." "Stop being silly, Alex. I'm your wife and always will be. Don't deny me my pleasures and I'll make your life easier. I'll be back by midnight." Ignoring my plea, she approached with open arms, but I turned away. Unfazed, she picked up her Prada purse and headed for the door. "Holly, as your husband, I'm asking you not to do this," I said, my voice harsher. She paused, then laughed. "What are you going to do, Alex? Leave me? You'll never have the courage. We both know you'll always be by my side." Her words stung, echoing in my head. I knew she was spoiled and selfish, but I believed she loved me. I realized I had been a fool for too long and needed to make plans to end this. I started planning immediately, consumed by thoughts of her infidelity. I needed to sever my emotional ties to her. I found an old photo of my mom and sisters, cut out Holly's face, and pasted it next to theirs. It symbolized the end of my affection for her. I placed it on my desk as a reminder. By 12:45 a.m., I had decided on my next steps. I knew it might take weeks and I would need help, but I was determined to follow through. I heard someone stumble out the door and saw Henry Walker's car pull away. When Holly came upstairs, I quickly erased my story from the computer. I'd have to use incognito mode in the future. After she went into our bedroom, I went downstairs to make coffee, thinking about my future away from this place. Without my daughters, it wouldn't be so bad, and I decided to move closer to them. Monday morning, I arrived at work, determined not to lift another finger. Jack Walker could fire me for all I cared. Ignoring the taunts, I focused on my plan. I had a bank appointment at 1 p.m. and analyzed my finances beforehand. If everything went well, and with the right help, I could come out unscathed. The meeting went as planned. I closed my savings account and removed my name from our joint account. I also closed my ISA for cash. I bought 2 digital voice recorders, a 500 GB USB drive, and a new hard drive for my PC. Back at the office, I cracked Jack's password and accessed the company's client files. His username was his wife's name, and the password was Jack240656. I copied all the files to the USB drive, including my designs for an energy-efficient hydraulic pump system. Then I erased my computer history, replaced the hard drive, and reinstalled Windows. I spent the rest of the day researching competitors and looking for engineering jobs in South London and Surrey. That evening, I found a job opening at a competitor going through a financial downturn. They were offering £10,000 less than my current salary, but it was close to what I wanted. I sent an email with my CV. That night, I decided to sleep in our bed to avoid disturbing Holly. I made sure to be asleep when she came in. When she rubbed against me, I felt sick, but the disgust would help me in the long run. The next day, I got a call from a surprised Robert Williams at Sutton Hydraulics. He couldn't believe I was considering leaving Walker Engineering for his small company. He offered me the job immediately, but I insisted on an interview. He agreed the next day. With that set, things started moving quickly. I had time, so I looked for apartments. I found a nice 2-bedroom for £1,200 a month, 15 minutes from my daughters and 5 minutes from work. I scheduled a viewing for the day after my interview with Robert. I told Jack I needed to meet my daughters in Kingston to sign papers, and he just said to go. That night, I called my best friend, Toby Brown. We'd known each other since 6th grade, and both attended Kingston, though he studied finance and math. Now, he was a banking analyst living in Twickenham with his wife and kids. He and his wife hated Holly, so we rarely socialized as couples. Holly was jealous of Sarah, Toby's ambitious wife, who was a successful web developer. I arranged to meet Toby the night after my interview and apartment viewing. He knew I had something on my mind, but I told him I'd explain everything when we met. I had a lot to think about. Today was crucial for my immediate and long-term plans. I wasn't sure how my daughters would react. Before recent events, I planned to retire at 55, possibly investing in a villa in Italy. My mortgage would be paid off by 50, and those extra 5 years would build a nice fund. The new job was 20 minutes from my daughter's apartment. The interview went well, and the apartment was perfect. With time to spare, I grabbed lunch for my daughters and headed to their place. I was paying half their rent. Approaching their apartment, I wasn't sure what to say. I didn't know how much they talked to their mom, but I didn't want to hide anything from them. When they saw me, they ran up and hugged me as I walked through the door. My smile was huge. I missed them so much. "Daddy, Daddy," they shouted, laughing like toddlers. They led me into the house, and I laid out the lunch I had grabbed on the way. We ate while they told me about their lives in school. I was so proud of my girls. Sophie was studying pharmacology, and Ava was studying nursing, both caring professions. I talked about our new family and promised we would meet them soon. After lunch, I sipped my coffee, knowing they sensed something. "What is it, Daddy? Spill it," Sophie said. "Well, you know your mom cheated on me, right?" I said. They nodded. "I've had enough, and I'm going to leave her," I muttered to their smiles. "Good," Ava said. "About time, Daddy," Sophie added. "You're not mad?" I asked. "No, Daddy. She's been awful to you," Sophie said. I almost reprimanded her, but didn't. Good for Sophie, I thought. I felt ashamed they had witnessed this growing up and hoped they wouldn't follow in their mother's footsteps. I hoped I hadn't hurt them. "What are you going to do, Daddy?" asked Ava. I told them about my new job and moving closer to them. They were thrilled and surprised I was leaving their cheating mother and had already made plans. They hugged me, and I assured them I'd protect our financial future. When I left, they promised to support me no matter what. I felt happy and ready for the next phase of my plan. That evening, I met Toby and Sarah. They greeted me warmly, but I was nervous about asking for their help. They wanted to know what was going on, so I told them everything. They were more surprised by my resistance than by Holly's infidelity. "So, why did you dump her now, Alex?" asked Sarah, handing me tea. I declined something stronger since I had to drive home. I always suspected she was cheating, but now she admitted it. I also discovered something that made me say I'd had enough. I told them about meeting my cousins and learning my mom kicked my dad out, with my sisters siding with her. My father was just like me, but this time my girls are on my side. So it was this discovery that made you stand up for yourself? Asked Toby, worried. No, I visited my father's grave, laid flowers, and saw the engraving. It shocked me and made me realize I had to leave, I explained. What was that, Alex? They asked in unison. It had a rose on it, with the inscription, in memory of him. Below was his birth date and the age at which he died. There was a moment of silence. He died at 44, the age I am now. Toby and Sarah recoiled slightly, understanding the gravity of my news. I realized I had a choice, follow my father's destructive path or fight back. I decided I wasn't going to liquidate myself trying to be the perfect husband while being bullied and ridiculed. Admitting my struggles to my friends was harder than I expected. Toby's concern threw me off. What do you want from us, Alex? He asked. Please refuse if it's too much, but I have a plan to protect myself and bring Holly down, I said. I explained that in 2008, I opened a separate savings account, putting all my bonuses and spare cash into it. Luckily, I got our mortgage in my name only because Holly had no employment history. My savings, with interest, are now worth £60,800. I have £120,000 left on the mortgage, but houses nearby are selling for over $500,000. I needed Toby's help to get a short-term loan for £60,000 to pay off the mortgage before the divorce. Sarah interjected. Why bother? She can still get half. Except for the £60,000 in savings I'm keeping, I said. But I need you to incorporate a new company. You want to transfer ownership of your house to the new company? Toby asked. Yes, that way she can't touch it. Once the mortgage is paid, I just transfer the paperwork to your company. Toby and Sarah exchanged glances. Will that work, Alex? Won't she fight for everything? Toby asked. She doesn't have the money for a big legal battle, and her parents won't want to pay if they know she's a cheater. Plus, I plan to use her low opinion of me. How? Toby asked. She thinks I'm a coward who'll never leave. So I won't ask for a divorce until the house is sold and the money is moved. By then, she won't be able to do much. Toby smiled. I never knew you had it in you, Alex. I'll help. But you know a good lawyer will try to trace the money, right? Yes, but it'll take time and she can't afford a big legal bill. After another hour of conversation, I headed home. Everything was falling into place. I decided not to file for divorce immediately. I didn't plan to remarry and needed more time. Holly wouldn't notice my absence for at least a month. I laughed to myself. By next week, I'd be gone. When I got home, it was almost 2 a.m. Holly was sound asleep, showing no remorse. I decided to sleep in the spare room. Thursday morning, I was up and out before Holly woke. I wrote my resignation letter and called Toby around lunchtime. I've got good news, bad news, and good news again, buddy. Okay, let's hear it, I said, laughing. The good news is I registered the company. The bad news is you'll need serious collateral, like a house, to get the loan, and that won't work for you. Frustrated, I was thinking of a solution when Toby continued. Alex, Sarah and I have decided to transfer £60,000 into your account now. Just pay us back when you can. Stunned and grateful, I said, This is too much, Toby. You've already done so much. Just take the money and do what you need to do, he insisted. Thank you, Toby. You have no idea how much this helps. Just get away from that disrespectful scammer and be happy. I gave him my details and ended the call. Next, I called the bank to set up a meeting for the next day. After work, I drove to the local Land Rover dealership. I knew the owner, John Reeves, since I bought Holly's Range Rover Sport there 10 months ago. Hello, Mr. Price. Looking for a new car? John greeted me. No, John. I want to discuss selling my wife's car and paying off my debt. Everything okay? He asked. Yes, but you know how demanding she is. Now she wants a Mercedes 4X4. She did seem annoying, he admitted. We agreed he would take the Range Rover back and cancel the payment plan. I promised to return for an upgrade, and he knew he could sell Holly's car as practically new. I picked up a 2016 brochure for Holly on the way out. When I got home, Holly was drinking coffee and looking pale. I threw my bag on the floor. Everything okay, love? I asked through clenched teeth. Yeah, just tired, she said, holding out her arms for a hug. I ignored her, took out the brochure, and sat on the coffee table across from her. Your car is almost a year old. I saw the new model at the dealership today, I said as her eyes lit up. I want my wife to have the best, so I'm trading in your car for this one. I pointed to the new 2017 model in the brochure. Oh, I love that, she said, ignoring my plan. "You always know how to make me feel better, don't you, Alex?" "The only thing is, they have a buyer for your car already. I need to get it there by Friday afternoon. I'll finish work early and drive it to the dealership. You can use mine this weekend to visit your loved ones." Holly recoiled, looking shocked and confused. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing, Alex. I just thought you were still mad about our arrangement," she said. "It wasn't our arrangement, Holly. It was yours. I didn't have a say in it, but I guess I don't really have a choice, do I?" I replied, hoping for an answer. She nodded, seeming to think she had won. "I love you, Alex." I met her concerned look, but said nothing, walking away to the kitchen. The phone rang and I answered it in the garden. Toby confirmed the money transfer. I was ready. The next day I went to the bank and met with a mortgage loan officer. She seemed about my age, but wasn't wearing a wedding ring. I briefly wondered if there was life after Holly, but dismissed the thought. An hour later, the mortgage was paid off, and my remaining accounts were closed. I opened a new account at another bank and felt relieved knowing I wouldn't owe anything unless Holly hired a lawyer. Back at the office, I ignored Olivia and sat with my coffee, planning the next step. I contacted the land registry and submitted the application to transfer my house to Toby and Sarah's new company. Within minutes, I received a confirmation email. It would take 3 to 5 days to process. After that, Toby could register the property to his company. I browsed the internet for furniture and utility cancellation details. I started new accounts for my apartment in Sutton. One task remained. I knocked on Jack's door, interrupting him and Olivia. She left us alone. "What can I do to help, Alex?" he asked, escorting Olivia out. I placed my resignation letter on his desk. He looked puzzled. "What is it?" he asked. "I have resigned. I think it's best if I leave immediately. Given our family situations, you won't want me here long." He looked stunned. "I'd appreciate my P45 by Monday. Please don't tell anyone, especially my wife," I said. "But we need you," he protested. "Not as much as you need your nephew. I'll be here Monday to pick up my things." I pretended to drop a pen, bent down, and placed a digital voice recorder under the seat. "If that's all, Jack, I need to go." "Okay, Alex, but don't come crawling back when you're out of money. Your money is the only thing keeping that cheating wife with you." "Of course, Jack. I wish my wife was as faithful as yours," I said, smiling. That hit him where it hurt. I turned and walked out. An hour later, I drove home, picked up Holly's car and the magazine, and took the car to the dealership. John Reeves kindly offered to drive me home. When I got home, Holly was at the kitchen table with red, puffy eyes. She had been crying. "What's going on, Holly?" I asked, pretending to care. "We need to talk, Alex," she said, gesturing for me to sit. I felt a wave of terror. "What's going on?" I repeated. "I was at the doctor's today and was diagnosed." She hesitated. My mind raced. If it was serious, what kind of man would I be to leave a sick woman? "I have," she stammered. "Just tell me, Holly," I urged. "I have gonorrhea," she finally said, bursting into tears. I laughed. She stared at me, shocked. "It's not funny. I'm so embarrassed." "Well, I know I don't have it because I haven't touched you in over a month, and when I found out about your affairs, I used protection," I said, trying not to gloat. "Is everything fine with you?" she asked quietly. "Just take your medication, and you'll be back on your feet soon. Find out who gave it to you, and make sure they see a doctor before it spreads," I said, leaving her crying at the table. That night, I slept well for the first time in months, in the spare room. Saturday morning, I felt great. I went to our bedroom and woke Holly. "I'm going to visit the girls. Get some rest, okay?" I said warmly. She smiled and asked for a hug. I gave in half-heartedly. She sensed something was wrong. "You think I'm disgusting, don't you?" Tears ran down her cheeks. "I just want you to feel better." "Oh, Alex, I love you. I think I screwed up. I told Allison about my problem, and she was horrified." I felt a brief pang of pity, but it faded quickly. I realized I had lost all love for her after 21 years of marriage. Without another word, I left the room, got in the car, and drove away, feeling relieved. Later, with the girls, I told them everything. They were amazed and respected me more. We laughed about Holly's trip to the doctor, and I realized the girls might hate her as much as I did. "What's she going to do, Daddy?" asked Ava. "She'll have to move in with her grandparents or convince one of her lovers to take her in. I doubt they want a real relationship with her. They probably just liked bragging about sleeping with a married woman," I replied. They both shook their heads. That evening, I stayed with Toby and Sarah, who were hosting a dinner party with many friends and co-workers. Several single women my age were there, and I felt confident enough to talk to them. Booze helped, and I struck up a conversation with a woman named Amy, a divorced friend of Sarah's. She even got me to dance. It was a fun night and a much-needed distraction from Holly and my plans to leave her. When I got home late Sunday morning, Holly was doing chores. She rushed to hug me when she saw me. I just patted her back. "Where were you last night, Alex? I thought you were coming home," she asked. "Toby and Sarah had a dinner party and I drank too much, so I slept on their couch," I replied. "That's not like you. Did you have fun?" she asked, giving me a wary look. I showed her some pictures on my phone, and her face turned red. "Who is that woman?" she asked angrily. "That's Amy, Sarah's friend. She got me to dance. It was a lot of fun." Holly stared at me angrily. The irony of her being mad at me for dancing while she was having affairs wasn't lost on me. "I want to go with you next time. I haven't seen them in a while," she said. I went to the kitchen to make tea, and Holly followed. "Did you manage without the car?" I asked. "I'm fine. When is my new car coming?" she asked. "They said it will be delivered on Wednesday, but if you want, you can pick it up on Monday." "I have things to do on Monday, like getting my hair done and shopping with my sister," she replied. "I can drop you off to meet your sister, and then you can have her drive you to the dealership to get the new Range Rover," I said with a grin. She smiled and tried to hug me. I turned back to the kettle. The rest of the day, Holly was clingy, and I kept making excuses to leave. By bedtime, she was crying again. "Good night, Hollywood. Will you sleep with me tonight, Alex? I want to snuggle and feel reassured," she pleaded. "Not until you get clearance from Dr. Holly. You made your own bed," I said coldly. "Well, when I get better, I'm sure I can find a man who wants to be with me. I have a lot of lost time to make up for," she snapped. I laughed to myself. The cow was back. All my regrets vanished. For 21 years, I would have fallen for her act, but not this time. I ignored her tears and went to the spare room. Last night in my house, and she would be in the spare room, her words removed any doubt I had. I looked at her picture with my sisters and felt only hatred. She was nice when she wanted something and a cow when she didn't get it. Monday morning, I woke up early, as did Holly. She had an appointment with her hairdresser at 8:30, so I drove her into town as planned. "Remember to take a cab to the dealership around 2. They're expecting you," I said, ignoring her attempts to kiss me. Driving off, I knew this might be the last time I'd see her. I called the cell phone company to cancel our contracts and paid the fine. The phones would work until 5 p.m. Then I went to the office to pick up my P45. The factory had a solemn atmosphere. Everyone knew I was leaving. Walking down the hallway, I passed the usual group by the coffee machine. Max and Henry smirked at me. "Good morning, guys," I said cheerfully. "Good morning, Alex. How's the wife?" they replied, laughing. "Not very much, I'm afraid. One of you underdogs swiped it." Their jaws dropped, and Max yelled something to Henry. Olivia saw me and half smiled. Jack was at his door before I could knock. "I have what you need, so take it and get out," he said. I entered and discreetly retrieved the recorder from under the chair. "Do you have another job, Alex?" he snapped. "No, nothing," I replied. He smiled, thinking I'd come crawling back. "So I get my last month's paycheck and my year-end bonus?" I asked. He laughed as Olivia walked in with my P45. "What's so funny?" she asked. "Alex just asked for his bonus and salary," Jack said, laughing. Olivia joined in. I decided to laugh too, making them stop and stare. "Why are you laughing, Alex?" Olivia asked. "I don't know, Olivia. Why do you let that old idiot have lovemaking with you every week?" I said, laughing louder. They froze, and Jack reddened with anger. "I'm sure your parents are proud of their fancy little girl." She threw my papers on the floor and ran out in tears. "You idiot," Jack said. "Get out of my office and out of my company before I have you dragged out." I laughed, leaving his office to pack my things. Still laughing, I drove home, lowered the back seats, opened the trunk, and went inside. I took down several Romero Brito works, wrapped them in plastic, and packed them in the car. I continued packing around the house, then went upstairs to empty my closet. I took all my documents from the safe, including the girls' birth certificates and our marriage license. In the attic, I found my diploma and family photos. I gathered all the jewelry I had bought for Holly, worth over 10,000 pounds, along with handbags, shoes, and coats. I had receipts for almost everything for insurance purposes, useful for selling later. I took the TV, movie collection, and Blu-ray player, but my car was now too full. I left Holly's clothes and a few other things. I found the best pictures of me and the girls and packed them. I made tea and took a moment to relax. I called to cancel satellite TV, phone, internet, gas, and water. Back in the bedroom, I found Holly's wedding dress in a dusty box at the top of the closet, along with our wedding album. I took everything to the garden, piling Holly's clothes and other unsellable items, leaving only her underwear. I locked my car doors and called Robert Williams to say I could give my P45 later and start work tomorrow. He was thrilled, and I told him about plans to get new customers and improve the hydraulic pumps. At 2 p.m., I waited for a call. Finding paint thinner in the garage, I poured it on the wedding dress. Just as I was about to light it, the phone rang. "Hi," I said calmly. "What's going on, Alex?" Holly yelled into the phone. "What do you mean, Holly?" I asked sarcastically. "Don't play dumb, Alex," she continued. "Calm down, Holly. What's going on?" I asked. There was silence, and I heard her heavy breathing and her sister's voice in the background. "I was told you didn't bring me a new car. You sold mine." "Oh yes, did I forget to tell you that?" I replied. "What are you talking about? Alex, what's going on?" She started to panic. "From now on, if you need a car, you can pay for it yourself," I said, trying to stay calm despite my pounding heart. "I don't understand, Alex," she said, confused. "You heard me, Holly. If you want it, you can buy it. Now I need to clean up the kitchen." "What? Is this some kind of sick joke?" I stayed silent. "We'll talk when I get home. I'm not satisfied with being coddled," she shouted. More silence followed, and I heard her panting and the slamming of a car door, indicating she was on her way. "Alex, Alex, Alex." "Yes," I replied calmly. "You said you were in our kitchen?" she asked, realizing what I had said. "Yes." "Why aren't you at work?" she asked. I stayed silent. "Alex, Alex, Alex." Her breath caught, and I heard the panic in her voice. I hung up and went outside, struck a match, and lit the fire. Our past flared up as I walked away. I tore up our marriage certificate and left it on the kitchen table with the only picture of us all at Disneyland. Then I got in the car and drove away. At the end of the street, I saw Holly and Jennifer pull up to the house. They ran inside without looking up. I turned off my phone, smiled, and drove towards my new home. The A3 was almost empty as I drove. I knew this wasn't the last time I'd see Holly, and once my plan came to fruition, she'd hunt me down. I didn't want the girls involved, as they needed to focus on their studies. I arrived in Sutton by 4 p.m., got a new cell phone contract, and met the administration team processing my P45. I also met Freya, my new receptionist, who was young but professional, a complete contrast to Olivia. I returned to my new empty apartment. With water and electricity available, I used a kettle I brought from home to make tea. I moved my stuff in and ordered a pizza. Turning on my old cell phone, I found it disconnected. Smiling, I realized Holly's phone would be off too, giving the girls some peace. While waiting for dinner, I laid out my sleeping bag in the living room. Furniture was scheduled for delivery over the weekend, but for now, I was glad to be away from Holly. I turned on my laptop and listened to the voice recordings from Jack Walker's office, finding evidence of his infidelity with Olivia. I copied the recordings onto 2 flash drives and addressed them to Margaret Walker, Jack's wife, and Peter Lewis, Olivia's boyfriend. I planned to send them off the next day. I called my daughter Sophie to update her and asked her not to tell her mother where I was. She admitted she hadn't talked to her mother yet, likely due to the phone being disconnected. Over the next week, I furnished my apartment and contacted Walker Engineering's clients, convincing most to switch to Sutton. A few stayed with Jack, but most disliked him and tolerated him only because of our superior products. I knew Jack wouldn't immediately understand why he was losing customers, but I didn't care. With the utilities shut off at my old house, Holly would realize I wasn't coming back. Unable to afford the bills, Toby could safely start the selling process. Sarah happily took on the task, and by the end of the week, the house was up for sale. Around this time, Ava contacted me. Holly had moved into her parents' house, and they were upset with her behavior. Holly was furious with me, but I found satisfaction in it. However, I knew the ordeal wasn't over yet. By the weekend, I was invited to another dinner party at Toby and Sarah's house. Amy would be there and had asked about me. She had been divorced a few years ago, gaining the house, custody of her children, and financial support. Sarah shared my situation with her, and Amy was interested in meeting me, so they planned this dinner party. Amy was 2 years younger than me with 2 teenage children. Though it felt like a setup, I decided it couldn't hurt. The dinner was a success. For the first time since planning to leave Holly, I felt relaxed. Amy understood my situation and didn't push me. We drank, danced, and exchanged numbers, agreeing to talk if needed. I stayed in Toby's spare room, fighting a hangover the next morning. Sunday brought great news. The house had 2 serious offers, and I accepted one for £550,000. I planned to open an ISA for the girls and have Toby invest the rest. I'd repay Toby and keep some cash in a home safe. Toby informed me the sale could be quick. I contacted movers to clear out the house. Holly became more angry and threatening, but I assured the girls it would be over soon. On Tuesday, I learned that Walker Engineering had to cut 50% of their staff, and Mrs. Walker was divorcing Jack due to infidelity. I felt no sympathy, already thinking of my commission checks. I didn't know what happened to Olivia and her boyfriend, but I was sure they got my gift, just like Mrs. Walker did. Even if not, she surely knew why Mrs. Walker was divorcing Jack. I wondered what her friends and family thought about her affair with an older man. To reward me for my new job, I was given a brand new Land Rover Discovery HSE and over £30,000 in commission. While admiring my new car from my office window, I saw a familiar Ford Focus pull into the parking lot. It was Diana's car, Holly's mom. I sat back, waiting for the inevitable call. The phone rang. "Mr. Price, there's a woman in the waiting room who claims to be your wife," said Freya, my secretary. "Tell her I have a meeting and will be down in an hour." 3 hours later, she was still there. I decided to leave for the night. If she saw me, I'd deal with it. If not, I'd just drive past. She didn't know my new car. As I got into my car, she screeched up, blocking my way. She stormed over, looking disheveled in her sister's old clothes. "You idiot!" she screamed, missing a slap. "I hate you! I hate you!" "Yeah, I hate you too, Holly. Say what you want and get out of my life," I said calmly. She just cried. "You ruined my life, you idiot," she whispered. I stayed silent. "You destroyed all my belongings, my wedding dress and clothes. And then you cancel and force me to move in with Mom and Dad," she continued. "Is that all, Holly? Haven't you anything to say for yourself?" she shouted. I invited her into my car to avoid a scene. She looked terrible, aged and worn down, possibly from the venereal disease. "Please come home, Alex. We can put all this behind us. I forgive you." Did she just say that? "You forgive me?" I asked, hoping I'd misheard. "Yes, Alex. I will forgive you for destroying my things and my life." "Are you delirious, Holly?" I asked. She looked at me like I was crazy. "You cheat on me and disrespect me, and you have the nerve to say you forgive me." "No, Holly. You're only thinking of yourself. I'll never be with you again. Go be with one of your lovers," I said coldly. She shifted awkwardly in her chair. "They accused me of giving them an STD and said I was just having fun. They don't want me as a girlfriend because I'm a cheating cow." "That was obvious, Holly. Go find someone else. My friends treat me differently. We've broken up and their husbands question their fidelity. Now I've been kicked to the curb. I'm a bad influence." The word separation stuck in my head. It meant I was still connected to her, and that made me sad. My parents are disgusted, and everyone in town knows about my venereal disease, thanks to my so-called friends and lovers. Now some factory employees have lost their jobs, and that's my fault too. She was partly to blame for her troubles. I felt sympathy. She had ruined a beautiful life with greed and disrespect, but I knew I had to move on. "I have nothing left, Alex. I need you back in my life. I have no money, no job. When will I get my share of the house?" There it was. "You've never told me you love me. You just need me, Holly, and I don't need you. As for the house, I didn't pay the mortgage and I lost it." I lied. Her eyes widened in shock, but at least I knew how this visit would end. "I want a divorce," I said. "No, please, Alex, I love you. Over 20 years together and I made a little mistake and you're burning me out." "A very big, unforgivable mistake, Holly. I'm never coming back." "Please, Alex," she shouted, her screams echoing in the car. "I need a clean break. If you agree, I'll give you £30,000 in cash," I offered. Her tears turned to determination. "No," she shouted. "I will fight you in court for everything. There's no way you lost the house. You're too smart for that." She was right, and now she had the upper hand. "All right, Holly, I'll say this," I began. "You're never getting a penny from me." She moved closer. "I'll fight you for everything, Alex. You have no money, Holly, and I'll move my assets so much. You'll spend a fortune trying to find them. I'm smart. By the time your lawyer catches up, the bill will negate any benefit. Take the money I'm offering or I'll give it away too." "It's your choice," I said sternly, keeping my eyes on her. "You idiot. I loved you and bore you children, and this is how you treat me?" she said angrily. "Thanks to me, our girls will go far. They won't be liars and cheats. They'll be selfless, not selfish like their mother. So take the money and get out of my life. My anger started to surface, and she looked at me like I was a stranger. All right, she hissed. I'll take the money and agree to the divorce. Okay, I'll set it up. With those words, she got out of my car and slammed the door shut. A few seconds later, she sped out of the parking lot. The next day, I filed for divorce on grounds of infidelity. A week later, I met Holly at the girls' apartment. The sale of the house went through, but I held off on the money transfer until the papers were signed. We tried to be polite in front of the girls, but it was difficult. I handed Holly the money and she signed the papers. I kissed the girls goodbye and wished Holly good luck. As I was about to leave, she started crying again, likely for the girls' benefit. Sophie and Ava looked at me knowingly. I'll see you next weekend, Dad, Ava said as I walked to the door. I went back into the room. Holly was still sobbing, ignored by everyone. I remembered what Ava meant. Oh yeah, the Coldplay concert. Are we meeting in London or driving together? Sophie asked. I'll talk to Amy and let you know during the week, I replied before leaving. As I walked out the door, I heard Holly yelling something, but I ignored it and left.